Each week we bring you all of the latest film news.
From interviews with filmmakers and actors to the new cinema releases.
You have to get through 12 feet of concrete and 70,000 gallons of pressurized water without any metal.
No oxygen tanks.
Benji, stand by to receive.
Ethan, you ready?
Important point. If you haven't opened that hatch after 2.5 minutes, we're both dead.
No, no, no.
Ethan, do you copy? Ethan, abort! Abort now!
Welcome to this edition of Arts Alive Film, and have we got a show for them? My name's Tony Lindsay.
My name's Tony Lloyd.
Okay, we have Mission Impossible 5 Rogue Nation. We have Hot Pursuit with Reece Witherspoons.
Yes.
We have an interview with local filmmaker Andy Smith coming up.
The Master.
But before all that...
I have one question to ask.
Go on.
Did Tom Cruise do all his stunts?
Can't hang a multi-million-dollar star on the outside of an aeroplane and fly around in the normal world. But Tom wanted to be on the outside of that plane.
I couldn't sleep the night before, and then came the day. I was like, okay, this is really gonna happen. You ready? Let's go.
I kind of thought that was a one take, but he did it 8 times.
If something went wrong, I can't get into the airplane till we land.
Okay, guys, please take your seats.
There's no little crash and a scratch. You're dead.
Ready, and action!
I'm feeling the force of the wind hit me. I'm actually scared of this.
Bam, 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 bam.
What? 50,000 feet up in the air, hanging off a plane. This guy takes his art seriously, doesn't he?
Know. Well, there's very few stars who throw themselves in literally into their
absolutely.
roles.
And this guy has
like
star
Tom
quality,
Cruise.
doesn't he? I mean, he exudes it. It bounces off the screen.
Well, we were talking about it. You know, when you have the heyday, the stars of heyday, he's already reached kind of that legendary purport. He's a true movie star in every sense.
But then
Apparently,
again,
he's
since
consummate
Risky
professional.
Business, he hasn't put a foot wrong, has he?
That's right.
Early 80s.
Yeah, he's learned his craft as he's gone along, and he's done the acting stakes, and he's very good at action.
Here again, he's with Chris McQuarrie again. He worked with Chris McQuarrie on Jack Reacher. McQuarrie also wrote Valkyrie for Cruise and Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, what a great film, Edge of Tomorrow.
But McQuarrie doesn't put a foot wrong here, folks. It's absolutely brilliant thriller. It's 2 hours of pure entertainment, and it just doesn't stop.
It has the vibe of the TV show
yes.
as well. That doesn't mean it's got it's small boundaries. It's massive. You couldn't get a bigger blockbuster, but it's got the spirit, the true spirit of the TV series, where there was these impossible things they had to do, and you just looked at them. But what's great is there's humour in it. He kind of takes the mickey out of himself, Cruise, and I really admire that for someone of that stature. It's so easy to disappear up his own, well, you know what I mean,
tailpipe,
tailpipe arsenal.
Yeah, but you've got the MIF crowd are joined by Rebecca Ferguson this time round as a possibly rogue English agent.
And more than a match for the Master.
Oh, absolutely. The physical, the stunt work is off the scale. It's superb. Okay, they're going after a rogue. It's a kind of, how Simon Pegg describes it, as an anti-Mission Impossible force.
Literally that.
Which
is
by,
disbelieved by most of the head of the CIA.
Run by Alec Baldwin.
Great Alec Baldwin in his most world-weary.
And you've got Sean Harrison there. It's a great villain who could almost be Bond villain. Solomon Lane. But what else can we say about this? The locations.
It's globe-trotting, isn't it?
You've got all over the world.
You're in Morocco, you're in Paris, you're in London. You're everywhere, and there's a real sense of excitement.
Yeah, the set pieces are phenomenal. You got Cruise underwater doing a 3-minute. Although we believe he trained to breathe underwater for 6 minutes, so the publicity's telling us. I don't know how real that is, but he does this thing in one take, this whole thing in one take,
beautiful,
and it's beautifully done.
And there's a sequence. This motorbike chase. And you may think, well, we've seen motorbike chases before. This is done the absolutely adrenaline rush. And of course, because he's a biker himself, seeing Cruise actually on the road with the bike, it all makes it so much
Don't
more
forget the
believable.
theatre in Vienna. A complete nod to Hitchcock, which is absolutely, the pacing is absolutely fantastic. The editing.
Well, do you remember John Woo's the second one?
Yeah.
That was that had a nod to Notorious in there.
That's right, it did, yeah.
So there's a bit of Hitchcock vibe in there.
Yeah.
Ness and Dormer's in there, the sequence of music.
That's right.
Beautiful.
This thriller goes up to 11, folks. It's well
It really
recommended.
is. If you want a real action,
get down here now.
blockbuster night out, you couldn't go wrong.
This may be our last mission. Let's make it count.
Open the door!
Come on.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Benji, open that door right now!
Oh my God!
Officer Cooper, who stands at 4 feet 11 inches.
Oh, come on.
The other suspect, a 45-year-old Latina woman, is...
Ay, madre.
I know who you are. Yeah, you all want it.
I'm a police officer. Mrs. Rivas, she's a federal witness in my protective custody.
Oh, I am protected by a meter maid.
Everybody in the state is looking for her.
Hola, housekeeping.
30 cops and the cartel. We need a couple hours to lay low.
I kind of like your smile.
Oh, cut it out.
Okay, so from one hot pursuit to another hot pursuit.
Nice link.
Like that.
I
Do you like that?
That's
Is
a
that
link. That's a link.
But that's about the best thing we can say, really, isn't it?
It's a difficult one, really. You know.
Female buddy movie.
And all the right ingredients.
Yeah, Reece Witherspoon, great actress.
Well, we're a fan, aren't we?
Sophia Vergara. As a drug cartel, as a drug cartel informant's wife,
and it's the typical buddy, scenario. She's not a great policewoman, is she?
No, she's got her skeletons in the cupboard.
Disaster.
Yeah.
But she has to somehow. She ends up having to keep this witness.
But this is no Midnight Run. Let's make that clear.
We were going to say, if you really want to see how this is done, you need to watch Martin Brest's Midnight Run.
Yeah.
So what else can we say?
Phoebe and the Bean, the Defiant Ones, as you pointed out.
Yeah,
which isn't a comedy, obviously. But yeah, listen, this is directed by Anne Fletcher. Anne Fletcher of The Guilt Trip, 27 Dresses, The Proposal. So she's got a bit of a track record there.
I think, though, the main thing is, and the hardest thing, and this goes on and on and on, we've seen it so many times, DiCaprio with Cameron Diaz in Gangs in New York, you need chemistry between your two leads.
Yeah,
and there is to love them.
Yeah.
Like Tony was saying about Midnight Run, you fall in love with this pairing of, like, Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. You want to see what
both dysfunctional, but both
you want
so
to know
lovable.
about their lives. You get to know about them. The details there.
But folks, the humour, because it's a female comedy, it centres around periods, lesbian jokes, and shoe jokes. There's even a plot. A narrative device to do with the shoes, isn't there? It's really patronising. Look at Bridesmaids. Look at Spy. Look at Spy for female-led comedy. Fabulous.
But saying that, it's doing good business.
Yeah, it is doing.
And on the face of it, you might say, well, I fancy that with the 2 stars and whatever. But really, it doesn't deliver what you'd expect.
No hot pursuit there at all.
We need a different identity.
Why do you look like Jose Bieber?
You must be Miguel.
See, yeah, yo soy Miguel.
I am totally crushing this dude.
Oh yeah, that's your average guy chest.
Nothing there.
Yep, that's right, nothing there.
Okay, that's it for part 1. Coming up part 2.
Coming up in part 2, an interview with local filmmaker Andy Smith. See you after the break. Hello and welcome back to Arts Alive film, coming to you from the Odeon Liverpool 1. And while we're here, folks, 11 o'clock every morning is the Odeon Kids Club.
11 o'clock?
Yeah, lots of great films for the little ones to see, so, you know, bring them down here. What have we got for them now?
Well, we're going to be looking at local filmmaker Andy Smith, and we're just going to be talking about his next project, which is so strange and intriguing, it has to be true.
Okay, it's interview time now, folks, and on the show this week we have filmmaker Andy Smith. Andy, thanks for coming on the show.
Great to see you, mate.
Yeah, it really is. So tell us something, some background about the film.
Okay, so our project is called Holes in His Souls, and it's based on a true story that happened on Merseyside in the mid-90s. And how I came across this story myself was I was sat in a bar in the mid-90s, and these two guys came round and they were collecting for some kind of charity. And they asked people, you know, could you make a small monetary donation?
Sure.
But if not, they had a novelty target of trying to collect 10,000 individual socks. And they said if they collected these socks, they'd be recycled, and somehow this would free up some cash within the charity, either by sort of using them to clothe the homeless or children in orphanages or something of that nature. Sure. And I kind of seen the funny side of this and said, well, I'll donate a sock to charity. So I whipped off a sock and passed it over, and they said, well, we need you to pose with the sock. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we need a photograph in order to show our organisation that you've given consent to part with your private property. So, okay, so I held my sock aloft and they took a snap and it was put into a zippy bag and off they went, and I thought nothing more about it. A few months later, I'd gone off to university and I was doing the regular kind of friends and family phone calls to say I'd settled in and the course was going well. And one of the calls I made was to a friend I was with that night, and he said, you know, you'll never guess what's happened to your sock. You know, the police been investigating those couple of guys, and they raided the premises, found thousands of socks all over the flat, in the microwaves, in the cupboards, hanging off the light shades, all over the wall, individual donors' photographs attached. Turns out they had this massive foot fetish. So I was like a bit perturbed for one.
Just a little.
But also, straight away, I thought, what an amazing story. You know,
Incredible.
I've just started my degree in kind of filmmaking and documentary filmmaking.
You can't invent this stuff, can you?
No. Exactly, and that is certainly a theme within the project, that, you know, sort of fact is often stranger than fiction. And that's something we actually kind of try to mess around with within our kind of narrative, whereby the drama that we tell is actually peppered with elements of reality.
So is this a documentary? What's the approach?
Okay, so primarily we've accessed funding from the BFI and Creative England, and that's to basically produce 10 to 15 minute drama. However, because our story is based on a real story, I'm very interested in peppering the drama with elements of reality. So people who were actually involved in the case may appear somewhere as extras. Okay. Also, obviously through the research for this project, I've interviewed quite a few people, including one of these guys. And obviously based on them interviews, the script has been developed, so it's very close to the truth, and probably closer to the truth that was sensationalized within the press at the time.
Okay.
How did you secure the main guy?
Well, it was no mean feat.
No pun intended.
And through my research, I'd found a Facebook forum called I Met the Southport Sockmen. And this forum was just full of people's testimonials about having come across these guys in pubs, clubs, and otherwise. And on that forum was one of the sockmen. So I dropped him a message.
So he's actually on the forum with everyone?
He was on the forum,
wow.
kind of, yeah. And I sent him a message, and I got no reply from him. And shortly after I sent that message, he took his profile off the forum. So I then got in touch with the Southport Visitor newspaper, and they said, you know, you should be really wary of this character. We've tried to approach him ourselves with an interview, and he was quite hostile and threatened us with legal action. But we have an address for him if you really want to pursue trying to get an interview yourself. So I kind of put that to the back of my mind, and during the application process with Creative England, they said, well, you know, if you had an interview with this guy, then, you know, you can pretty much say that we'd give you the green light.
Yeah.
So after that interview, I, you know, got the train back to Liverpool from Sheffield, and thought, how am I going to broach this? Do I doorstep the guy? What happens if it turns ugly? What happens if I get into some kind of legal mess or whatever? And 2 days later, he contacted me just out the blue and said, you know, I will give you an interview.
Okay.
So how did the project start, develop from there? Did you write the script yourself?
We were hooked up with a couple of different script editors via Creative England BFI, but also my two producers, Jed Hunter and Dave Hart. We developed the script over many drafts, and you know, the initial script is a lot different to what you know the shooting script is at the moment.
So how many drafts have you got up to now?
We're probably around 13, 14 type of thing. So it's had a lot of work, and it's took a lot of different shapes and structures.
Sure.
But obviously you are kind of dancing to the funders' tune, somewhat. So they're kind of steering you in a particular way. And obviously, you know, if we do a good job with this initial project, then there's a second tier of funding next year that can be applied for. And so it goes, type of thing, until you're in a position, or they feel you're in a position to undertake a feature project.
Okay, now that feature project, that would be something completely different to this, or an extension of this project?
Well, I mean, this short project could well serve as an introduction to a bigger and broader feature film project. However, I would see that taking the shape of a documentary more than a drama. Obviously,
so feature-length.
Feature-length documentary. I mean, obviously, you know, there's a scope within documentaries to dramatically reconstruct scenarios and whatnot. But I think because there is a real story, it has so much more impact as a documentary, because it's such a bizarre and outlandish story. You know, usually people's first question is, you know, is this actually true? Did this really happen? Is this a wind-up? And I think that's something we hope to kind of achieve in the short project, and leave the audience questioning, did this really happen? I want to know more. And if we can do that, then the doors are open to make a feature, because and try and answer some of them questions, because obviously we've only got 10 to 15 minutes. We have to focus specifically on an area of the story. In this case, you know, the most interesting facets was the two main characters, so that's what we're looking at. But obviously there was a lot of other people, all these people's testimonials that I've read. I've interviewed several of them, and you know, because there's different sides to this story that we haven't gone into here, but there's certainly a darker, more sinister side to this story that will be revealed within the film.
So obviously you're near to start. So is there anything you need? What you need next?
Sure. I mean, we start shooting next week. We've got a 5-day shoot split over 2 blocks, 2 weekends. You know, pretty much the funding is there for that. However, going forward after the shoot, we obviously need to edit and we need to grade the project, which we don't have the money to do yet. So, I mean, we've been asking local businesses and national businesses to try and invest in the film.
Well, here's your chance now. Down the barrel of the lens, make your pitch.
So yeah, if you're interested in helping us develop our short film, Holes in the Souls, please do get in touch with us. We're at holesinthesouls@gmail.com.
We'll put that up on the screen for you.
Drop us a line there if you're interested in making some kind of financial investment to help us finish this film and get it on the festival circuit where it can be seen by an international audience. That would be fantastic.
So all that remains to say is thanks for coming on the show, Andy.
Yeah.
Really great to see you.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks
Great
so
to see
much.
you. Great to see you.
Cheers, man.
Thank you, Tony.
Well, that's it for this week, folks.
Next week we've got 4 incredible reasons why you should watch the show.
But before that, take a look at this teaser trailer. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Your parents, teachers, all told you one way to be. You ignored them. This is our chance to make a difference.
You guys ready to have your minds blown?
No one man should have all that power. I got the power, make your life so exciting.
Fantastic Four, August 7th.
Coming up in part 2, sir. Coming up in part 2, an interview with Andy Smith. Let's do that again.
I have one question to ask.
Go on.
Did Tom Cruise do all the stunts?
So the publicity tells us 50,000 feet off the air, hanging on the side of a plane. Absolutely.
I haven't done it for ages.
Oh, no, I've done it a few times, but not like that, nothing like
I
that.
once missed an EasyJet and nearly did it.
Yeah, John Lennon, yeah.